$1.6 billion. It is the budget of the World Bank devoted to the oil and gas industry in 2016. But this amount, which represents less than 5% of the total funding granted in this area in 2016, should be considerably reduced as of this year. Economic observers believe that this is a real warning shot for many African countries in particular. In fact, states such as Angola, Nigeria, Gabon, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, and even Algeria, Egypt, Libya continue to rely on the recovery of the price of a barrel of oil to revive the sector. The economies of these countries, which were heavily impacted by the fall of oil prices, had to tackle the diversification of their economies. But the process is still struggling to prove itself in many of these cases.
Well, joining us now from Kampala, Uganda, is Paul Busharizi, a Ugandan business analyst. Paul, welcome to the program. We look at the Uganda case where there is about 6.5 billion barrels of oil in the country, and the World Bank itself sees it as the country to watch in the oil and gas space. Considering the poverty rates in Uganda, would Uganda still qualify for financing? And what about climate issues? Paul?
Well, I imagine, like with all other projects of the World Bank, they will have tried to mitigate against climate change issues, so that shouldn't be a problem. I think the useful thing to tie in climate change with this kind of things, climate change, environmental issues with this kind of projects, because private capital, if left to its own devices, will not pay attention to this kind of concern. So I think the World Bank is right, and I hope the commitment is total on this kind of initiative.
Paul, if the World Bank gave no support to countries like Uganda, still among the poorest, what options then would it be left with?
Well, I imagine there's demand still for oil, and there'll be private entities who will be able to get financing maybe on the open market to finance the project. It'll be a bit more of a challenge, but I imagine it's not impossible.
The international body says it wants to finance climate-related projects, but don't such initiatives get lost in corruption?
Well, whereas that is true, but I think oftentimes it's a responsibility of the beneficiary country or community to ensure that everything runs in order. I think the situation in Uganda is such that civil society will be really keenly looking at this thing, and it's likely that it will not just be swept under the carpet. I think I'm not saying that there would be entirely no corruption, but I think people would be more on their guard in a place like Uganda, given the openness of the society.